Adela. Adela.
Hello, Simon. How are you
Hello.
today?
I'm okay. This is my fourth class today.
Ah, Are you tired?
My throat's getting a little sore, and I've still got two more classes after this.
Eh, okay.
I
It's
know it's
a
a
hard
long day.
day.
Yes. Well, welcome to class. We'll get started shortly. Taffy, is that how I say your name?
Yeah, that's right.
Great. And how are you today?
I'm doing good. How about you? Actually, you're my very first teacher in Verbling, and
Oh,
I'm happy to
terrific.
see
Where are you from?
you. From Malaysia.
I know where that is. Excellent.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you could join us here today. I have a lot of classes, and I've got two more classes coming up after this. So thank you for joining us, Taffy.
Sure.
And we have Saiban from Iraq and from Ecuador, Amp. Terrific. And I know Anna's going to join us shortly too. Manolo.
Hello,
Hi, Manolo. Where are you from?
I'm from Spain.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, thank you.
I think for many of us it's afternoon or evening.
Yeah, afternoon here. Evening, yeah.
Yeah, it's morning here. It's still morning.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so let me tell you guys about this class. Some of you are new. It's a conversation class. I'm going to introduce a topic, and then I'm going to spend a minute with each one of you where you get a chance to discuss the topic. That'll be round one. Round two, I'll increase it to about 2 minutes, and then 3, and you'll get to speak with other students. I use my phone so that way I can keep track of the time. So when the time is up, when 1 minute is up, you'll hear this sound. When you hear that sound, please stop talking and we'll move on to the next student. So I'll start with Adela, but let me introduce the topic first. I want us to have a discussion about social media and societal expectations. So what pressures do we feel because of society, and is social media helping or hurting? Today we'll get to talk about bullying, we'll get to talk about how we seem to always be connected and people are always able to reach out to us. So Adela, I guess what I would like you to discuss is, do you think social media is helpful? Is it a good thing? Or are there too many negative issues that come out of social media? Go ahead, please. You've got a minute.
If you think in social media you include about Facebook, etc., I think no. Yes, it's a
Yes,
question.
Facebook is
Okay.
social media. Yeah.
Okay. And I think it's a good thing and a bad thing. They are pro, they are cons, social media, because sometimes social media uh, mm, is have the possibility to talk about people relate different things. You have contact. I think can be better, but sometimes teenagers, etc., have the problem because in social media meet people is not good, or they have problem, or they use a lot of time and don't finish.
Yes, indeed. All right, thank you. So the same question goes to you, Amp. Um, Social media, is it beneficial, or are there any negative consequences with it?
Well, as everything that you have to have your own limits. Um, sometimes people abuse of this social media, don't take in a lot of pictures, and just filling fill the wall with a lot of comments that sometimes annoy the contacts that you have. But in some cases, I think it is useful when it permits you to get information that is necessary for you, or to help people that, for example, that someone that needs, for example, a special group of blood, and this is a media that permits you to distribute the information quickly through your contacts, and in that way, well, you can save a life even. But when you don't put your limits and spend a lot of time in front of this.
Okay, that's a good point, and I just typed something there because it's going to be relevant, that definition, when I speak with Manolo. Manolo, I don't use social media very much. Am I a Luddite? What? Who cares about social media? It doesn't interfere with my life. Do we even care? Do we even need social media?
Okay, I don't think you need the social media, but maybe it is a complement in your life. I mean, you can use that for keep the contact. You can use that for it can help you a lot. So, but it's true. In today, everyone has this. Maybe if you don't have, if you want to find some job, sometime if you don't have, the company think you are the strong person or something that. So maybe you don't need, but maybe in this society you must, or the society push you, you are going to have. You know.
Interesting. I don't think it's a requirement, certainly not in my job. If you're in a communications role, it might be, but I think now social media is not a requirement for most careers these days. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Saiban, do you think we need social media?
Okay. I, Actually, yeah. I think we really need social media because today it's everybody get busy and they are really don't have a time to, I mean, have be more social in the real life because everybody in the daily life they have to work like a full-time job or part-time job, so it's so hard and at the end of the by the end of the week they have to have a relaxation. I mean, they have to take their rest. So yeah, I think social media help us to contact with each other in a very easily way and to be more social person. So I really agree with that opinion.
Okay, thank you very much, Saiban. Taffy, what are your thoughts on social media?
Well, I quite agree there's a negative side, which is, like you said, there's a bullying issues, and I would love to raise one issue of trespass to property, like someone's taking our picture and use it in use for their own profile. And however, there's a lot of positive side on social media, especially for the business company, for a startup company, where they can engage with a number of peoples, so that it will create awareness about the business. On the other side, social media will give us opportunity to engage with our family and friends, all right, and then know peoples from different side of the world, to share our culture and maybe to better understand how peoples of the other side live.
Okay, very good. So that was the first round. Wasn't enough time, was it?
Yeah.
Believe it or not,
Yes.
when you meet people, when you're in business, sometimes you're only going to get a minute of talk time, maybe less. An elevator conversation. How many times will you encounter a manager or somebody above you in an elevator and they ask you a question? You need to be able to give quick answers. It's one of the reasons why I have the 1 minute conversation. It also gets you used to the class's fast pace. I'm now going to give you guys 2 minutes of talk time. In this round, I would like you guys to explore cyberbullying, as well as the expectations that young people feel are put on them through social media, the pressures. Girls are made to feel pretty, boys are made to feel like they should be big and strong and tough, and etc. Adela, you've got 2 minutes. Go ahead, please.
I'm sorry, teacher.
Adela?
Yes. I think for teenagers they have pressure because sometimes they are page or they think for example, the start or the bodies they need to have a model. That is a problem. I think there are problems with a lot of page for teenagers, problems about the food, because the disease about people like to be very tighty and don't eat a lot. They have a lot of problem with this page. And I think the problem with the teenager is the privacy, because they don't have the idea about what is private, what can be public, and that confusion they have. I think sometimes after that they have problems in your life, because their image, etc., can be very very private. Is not so good. They can be in every country, because the globalization is that in social media. Every country, every people, everything is all to you can see every. I think that is a problem. I
Thank you. Don't worry, Saiban. It'll come to you because I'm going to re-explain again. So AMP, this is an article here I just found. It's about a person who went a month without social media and what this person learned. I'll put that up there for everybody to see. But again, I'd like you to explore your thoughts on the pressures people feel by social media, bullying, pressures to act a certain way, to wear certain clothing, this pressure to always be online and connected. You've got 2 minutes, Amp. Go ahead, please.
I think that you have your own personality. You are very clear what you want. You are not going to feel worry or concern what the people around you are doing, and if you have your own values and your self-esteem, you don't need to follow what the others do. But the problem is that nowadays our society, the modern parents, spend a lot of time outside home because of they have to work. The children spend a lot of time alone, and the problem is that the parents, in order to satisfy the time that they don't spend with the children, they try to just feel this with the different technologies that they don't know that what their children are reading when they are not at home, what is the group of people that he or she have a contact through the internet. And sometimes when they realize the problem is have already started, and when they just look at that their children have changed the way that they dress, or they are losing weight, and it's too late. Sometimes they just feel that they must look like the woman in the magazine. They start having
Thank you very much, Amp. So here are the 4 things that were learned. Our current gold rush mentality around getting on the next hot platform is not sustainable. Well, we always want the latest and greatest technology. And taking ownership of the content we put out there. Keep in mind, if you're posting on Facebook that you're on vacation, a thief who's managed to befriend you now knows you're not at home. So be careful. It's physically hard for us to disconnect from our devices, and we always feel we have to check them. Okay? And of course, the comments that are posted are felt. When growing up, I was told of the expression, sticks and stones hurt our bones, but words don't. Well, that's silly. Words can be just as destructive as other weapons. If you don't believe this, walk into a bar, pick the biggest guy you can, and tell him, unleash a whole bunch of insults at him, and I'm pretty sure he's going to hit you for that. So words do carry a lot of meaning. All right, Rebecca, you've got 2 minutes. Can social media be used for good? Is it beneficial to us in any way?
Excuse me, could you repeat it, please?
Is social media good?
To be honest, I like social media, and I have to recognize I use it at least, I'm not sure, but 5, 6, 10 times a day. On the other hand, I have to recognize nowadays social media is making an individual society. You know, I mean, everyone, including me, of course, is spending a lot of time on these things, and that makes being, you know, kind of a lonely person. People enjoy more spending time in front of the computer instead of you know, going for a walk, or even having a chat with friends. So I think that is one of the negative points of social media. I think is the correct use that everyone have to take, you know, this modern, well, way to keep in touch with the people, but it's kind of isolation.
Thank you very much. All right, I'm trying to pull up an article that, no, they won't give it to me. All right, well, I'm going to get it anyhow. So let's do this again. So here's an article that talks to the top 10 benefits of social media. Well, there aren't 10, but that's how this article is written. And you'll notice it's taken from a business point of view. For businesses, social media can be a landmine. Very, very useful. All right, Saiban, you're up next. What do you think of social media?
Okay, teacher. To be honest, I have positive positive perspective of the social media. So, as I just mentioned before, the social media is something good, although it has its disadvantage. But for me personally, and for many people, social media make people get together, stick with each other. So and it's give us more chance to know each other and to be in touch with our relative, our friends. Because I just as I mentioned in the last round, that social media. I mean, if the people don't nowadays, they don't have too much time, so they will. I mean, for me, for example, I will say I don't have a time to say hi, or to say just to see my relative, my cousin, because my circle is so it's too big here in Iraq, so I cannot visit each of my cousin, my relative. So instead, I will be their friend in the Facebook, for example, and asking them how they are and how's the life with them, and instead of going there. So I think it has the high benefit. I mean, let's say it's really variable for our life, but I mean, okay.
Thank you very much. And Taffy, your thoughts on social media? Is it good or is it bad? I mean, in this article here, it talks about increasing brand recognition or brand loyalty, opportunities to convert, higher conversion rates. This is all related to getting people to your sites and getting them to your brand. This looks like it's more of a business tool than a social tool. What do you think?
Yeah, just like I said, social media is very useful for business entities because they can engage with many parties. For example, their customers, their maybe client. Well, yes, social media can give awareness about the brand, about or product of the company, especially if the company in a startup stage. Again, yes. When we go back to business, there's a few examples. There's so many examples actually. Like for example, Starbucks, they have reached millions of likes in Facebook. So from there, they can promote new products. For example, a new coffee, so that their loyal customer can get the information about the most current product that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay, that's fine if you've run out of something to say. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pair you guys up. So the first two to speak will be Adela and Amp. And I want you to just speak about anything that comes to mind on social media. To me, social media. Okay, I'm gonna have to mute you. Hearing an echo. All right. To me, social media is not very useful. I have a Facebook account, but I don't use it. I haven't deleted it because I know that when you delete your Facebook account, it never gets deleted. So I at least want to know what's there. I have a Twitter account, but I stopped using that. I used it to track a couple of people that posted messages, and I liked it for that, but every couple of weeks or so, without me inviting anybody, they'd become followers of mine, or I'd be following them without actually having to follow them. And all of a sudden, my screen would be littered with a whole bunch of messages, and I just got sick and tired of that, so I deleted it. Instagram, you know what? I'm afraid of any service that offers me free anything because I become the product. I'm not going to put my images on any social site where they become the property of that group. If I put my images in Google, then Google might use my images for advertising. This is not acceptable to me, nor do I like companies reading my email so they can sell me on stuff. That to me is a violation. Imagine if companies could read your traditional mail. Imagine if your postal service could read your mail so they could better advertise what junk mail you got. Would you be offended? It's the same thing. All right, I've said my piece. Adela and Amp, you guys have 3 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Adela is leaving the class.
Sorry?
Adela is leaving the class.
Oh, she's leaving the class. Well,
Yeah.
I guess you can talk to Rebecca then.
Okay. Okay, for me, yes. Also, I have an account on Facebook, an account on Twitter, but generally I use Twitter just to follow the news. I never write something, or just I retweet something when it's necessary, like help someone. The case of, for example, that they need medicine or need an specialist or something, is when I retweet. But for other things, yes, I think that you like you said, you become a product when you are inside this kind of social media. When you are trying to look for an information, then appear, then they start offering you. If you're looking for a company, for a job, or just for traveling, then appears a messages related to your search. So it's not
Give
privacy.
Rebecca a chance to speak. You've spoken for 1.5 minutes and Rebecca hasn't said anything.
Yeah, I think it's because she's talking by phone. That is why I was talking.
Well, as I said earlier, I like social media. I used social media every day, a lot.
What is your favorite one?
Well, I spend a lot of time on Facebook, because it makes me keep in touch with friends all the time. I post a lot of pictures of me and my friends in my vacations, in my life. And to be honest, I don't care about if someone is going
Don't
to
you
use
feel?
that
Don't you
pictures.
feel? No? Don't
Sorry?
you feel afraid about that? No?
Not at all. No, I don't care, because I don't consider myself a celebrity, an important person who everyone wants to use my image, So, of course, if I were a president of a country, or a celebrity or an actress, maybe I would take care about that, but.
Thank you very much. All right, well, we know who's going to speak next. Is a process of elimination. Saiban and Taffy. Gentlemen, you have 3 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Okay, Taffy, ready?
Ready? Yeah. Okay, I'll start first. I have a social media like Facebook and Instagram, but I really hate Twitter because I don't know how to use it. I might be Luddite towards Twitter. And yes, for Facebook, it's really helped me because it feeds me news from all over the world and to engage me with my friends and my family. How about you, Saiban?
Okay, I will just protecting my opinion, sorry, I'm hearing myself So I couldn't.
Sorry?
Could, okay, I think it's better right now. Okay. Okay. I will protect my opinion, and I will say, yeah, Facebook. I mean, not Facebook. The social media. It's very something very good. I agree with your teacher that maybe it has their dark side, that that's the company or the other, maybe Google or Facebook, they might steal the private picture or something else, or they might just hack my site. It's vulnerable. I mean, it's open source site, so everybody can hack to the site and steal everything, even the private part of the profile. But I will still say that social media has changed everything in our life. How about you, Taffy? I don't want to waste time. Taffy, are you there?
Oops.
Yeah, I quite agree with you. But don't you think that there's cyberbullying is a big problem in social media?
What? Excuse me?
Don't you think cyberbullying, have you ever experienced that, or have you know somebody that I mean, be a victim of cyberbullying?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Well, we've got another round. As you can see from this article here, a lot of people are concerned with social media, and this is one article. The biggest part is validation. We've always wanted to be accepted, and that want to be accepted is causing some problems. And it's causing problems with attention too. In my previous class, we talked about schools that were banning cell phones in classrooms, and they found that performance went up from 6 to 14%. It's very distracting, this technology. I'm not a Luddite by any stretch, but I just don't see the purpose. I see the dangers behind social media, and it's the terms and conditions that come with these free sites that scare the living daylights out of me. I don't like that, and that's what's kind of got me away from them. It's not because I don't like the idea of it. I just don't like how security is addressed and how we really don't have any privacy. It's more of an illusion. That's my thought. Am I too jaded? Amp and Rebecca, go ahead, please.
Sorry, what do I have to do? Read? Sorry?
Talk about this.
Okay. Could anyone go ahead of me?
Well, Rebecca, it's a conversation between you and Amp, right?
Okay, about the social media, okay.
Rebecca, if you don't know what you want to talk about, then maybe just let Amp lead.
No, it's okay, sorry. Okay, so could you start, please?
Yes, I think yes, there is many things around the social media. The pressure that you said, the young people generally want to be part of a group, and sometimes they expose too much themselves in order to be part of this group. And sometimes they are just be in like a testing for the others, and it's for me it's a kind of humiliation, and the parents must be behind the children to orientate what to do for themselves, and don't be an object of bullying?
Can I say? Okay, well, I think it's not a problem of social media. I think it's a problem of our society. You know, children has to be educated, has to be taught in a correct way, and if they don't use social media in a good way, it's because the behavior is not the one expected. But the problem is not because of the social media, of course, it's because someone is not teaching them properly, you know, I think.
Yes, it's like parents said, well, you should if you are 10 years old, why do you need a cell phone? It's not necessary for you.
Of course,
Generally,
but
yeah.
of course. Yeah, sure,
What
sorry.
do the parents do? Said, no, well, I am going to buy because the classmate has, and my son doesn't have one. So what is the problem? You are doing what the society is doing, but you don't think that maybe you should be a little different and said, well, you don't need it because I drove you to the school, and if something happened in the school is going to call me. So what is the necessity to have
Well,
a cell phone with you?
okay, you know, not everyone is doing in that way. I know a lot of teenagers, of course, they want the iPhone, but parents said, no, you are not allowed to have an iPhone until you at least 12 or even more, you know, so it's not everyone. You need to have a chat with your child and say to him why he's not allowed to have an iPhone when he is 10. You know, so it's a job. It's a job for of the parents, and they don't have to be in pressure. Okay.
Thank you. All right. Next we have Saiban and Taffy. Gentlemen, continue the same subject, please.
Well, I think social media is like taking drugs and smoking because it is so addictive. Like we always open the Facebook or Twitter when we just wake up from sleep, and then social media is it will give a sense of for us to compare with another, that you saw somebody posting the new car or new thing and you want the same thing, so it gives a very negative impression on that. And Saiban?
Yeah. Uh, just please, Taffy. Okay, thank you for muting your microphone. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. It's yeah, and I will just ask. I will just complete that you have the answer the question that you asked me in the last round, the cyberbullying. Actually, I agree with the we could be a victim for cyberbullying, but as yeah, I mean, you not say just, I mean, you have to understand that the social media, it has a really, it has more benefit, it has more advantage than disadvantage, and this is my opinion. I could be wrong, but this is my opinion. For me and many people that I have known, they have a really benefit from social media, even for the new. I mean, every people they are aware about their around, they're surrounded, and they know what's going on, and and in the Arabic country, lots of Arabic country, the uprising, the Arab people, they do the revolution, that's Arab Spring. It happens, it occur because against the dictatorship in Arab world, because of the social media, the people encouraging each other. That's why and at I mean, it's because the Facebook, and I don't know if you are agree.
I think cyberbullying will lead to a mental issue, especially towards teenager. And the best way to curb this is for a teacher to give awareness on the right way how to use social media. Like, for example, teenagers are open to assault, especially the boys will assault the girls whenever they see the girls post something unusual. And yeah, the teacher and the school should implement the best way to use social media.
Yeah, yes, but yeah, I agree with you. I mean, with this point, but you don't have, I mean, to be worried so much. I mean, about the about the teenage. As I just we have discussed this in the last in the previous classes. The okay. Thank you, teacher.
Thank you very much. All right, so this is the final round. Everything's wide open. It's all about social media, good, bad, or the ugly. Amp, and I think it's David there, if I see correctly.
Hello.
Yes, it is David. So Amp and David, continue the conversation about social media, good, bad, or indifferent. Go ahead, please.
I am.
Hi.
So what is your position on social media?
Well, I think that you must to establish your own limits. How you use them. What do you publish on it? And I think that in that way you can consider a useful tool when it's necessary, but always establishing your limits.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too bad.
Right. Well, I don't use social media that much because I think it's a tool that you can use when you wanted to use it, like anything else, like internet or TV or even a book.
Yeah.
But I realize that people are more aggressive on social media. They're easier to make a comment, usually a negative comment about somebody else on social media because more like anonymous. So that's the only issue that I have with social media, that people are more willing to attack or damage people's images easier than when you do it in person or face to face.
Yeah, well, probably the problem here is when you have a lot of contacts that they are not really your friends; they are just contacts. And then well, sometimes because they are covered by the media, they can write whatever they want. But for me, it's easier just to establish restriction. Who can send me the invitation? Who wants to be my contact? And in that way, well, I haven't had many trouble with the social media.
Right, and also you can block that person too, right? And
exactly.
That's it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so you move on. But also I think it's good because sometimes you want to get in touch with other people that you haven't seen for a long time. For example,
yes.
You know, your friends from high school or college. And
in
I
my
think
case, for example, I just established a contact with my classmates from the elementary school.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. Were you able to recognize their pictures? Because sometimes they get, is that you?
Yeah. Well, fortunately, I have good memory, but sometimes some of my friends they don't know. For example, who is that? Well, but it's fun. Yeah.
Right. I think that's a good thing about social media, especially Facebook, that you can go and see. Okay, let's see what my friend is doing, with his life, or sometimes they post some information, what's
Yes, yes,
marriage or
that's
new baby or new, I don't know, something new, something really important, I think, in
special
their
in their
lives.
life. Yeah,
Right. But I don't like the fact that people sometimes put, stupid things like, this, time is up.
yeah.
Yes, it is. So next we have Rebecca and Saiban. Again, this is your last chance to discuss the dangers of social
Okay.
media or the benefits. Go ahead, please.
Okay, Rebecca. Just want to know. I think you're. If I am correct me if I am wrong, but are you from Spain?
Yes.
Okay. I want to just ask you one question. Uh, do you think for the future, if there's a revolution against the king or against the government in the Spain, will be via the social media? Will be the start point will be via the social media?
Sorry, but I couldn't understand you properly. Could you say it again, please? In
Yeah,
the
yeah.
future, for the
I
future?
say, yeah. Do you think the social media,
Yes.
your people in your country will change the government or the system or the whatever you call and change the country's regime via the social media. I mean, just start with the encouraging other and beginning or started a revolution against the government. Do you
Okay.
understand my question?
Yes, yes. You are telling me if in future social media will have a strong impact in our political life. Is that?
Yeah, even if is it capable to change the regime, the Spain regime? Is it
Regime.
capable?
Regime. I don't know what is regime. Okay.
Okay, the
Mm,
system of the country. Okay, yeah, you are right. Just go ahead, please explain it. Yeah.
well, I think social media is you very much you use it here in Spain, but it's not a way where people. Okay, government. Thank you. Where well, use it by change the idea of people. You can read a newspaper, you can watch TV. Uh, Ideas are all over, throughout the country in different medias. So social media is one of those. Uh, it's the same for example, when news are talking about politics,
Yeah.
it depends on the channel you are watching the news. The idea is different. So
Okay.
it's one more of the medias.
Okay. Okay, I got it. Yeah, as I just mentioned before, here it is really a change affect the people's think or the people's belief or let's say the people's idea. So here, as I just mentioned before, the revolution, it causes the revolution against the dictatorship in many countries in Arab world. And okay, thank you, teacher.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so probably be the last conversation. We'll have Taffy, and I'll pair you up with David since David came late and kind of missed the last round or the previous round to this one. Gentlemen, go ahead.
Well, I'm quite agree with Saiban on the usage of the social media that can destroy a government. For example, in my country, the mainstream news always support the government. The only sources that we can get the other side of the story is through the social media, and it is usually quite true. and I agree with Saiban on that.
Right. I think you're right about that, but there's also something wrong about that, because yes, it's true that you can't let other people know what's going on in your country, especially we live in a regime that is very unfair. But at the same time, you can also destroy somebody else's ideas or progress in government just with lies too. So you can. It's hard to tell what is true, what is not true. Of course, if you live in a place that you can actually see the bad things that's going on in a government, and you can mainstream this information through Twitter or Facebook or whatever another social media, it is going to help. But I think we have to be very careful also. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, on the bad side of this, there's a lot of people who just give their ideas, their opinions, which is not in a good way, and it opens, it really gives bad impression to especially students. But I still think that social media is the best platform for me to get alternative news about my current government.
Yeah, but it's as I said before, you can manipulate the information. You can say you can be biased against it, or in favor of something or against something. So you have to be very careful when even if it is through social media or any other mainstream news. You have to be careful, and you have to be more critical thinker and say, well, let's see, let me look at it, and let me see if it could be true or it's not true. Because an opinion is an opinion, but then we have to kind of have something to base on, some facts that you can corroborate your opinion, right?
Yeah, you're totally right on that, because from social media it teaches to how to differ good news or bad news, whether this is a credible information, whether this is an opinion, or it's just a mere how do you say that? It's just manipulation.
To manipulate, yeah, manipulation, yeah, it's a good word. Now, so you mentioned something that happened in your country. What happened? And tell me more about that.
It's just some corruption allegations towards our prime minister. So it happens that this prime minister have changed the judicial system, the anti-corruption agency. So it seems that he really do that corruption. And from the social media that we know, he has changed all these systems. So we know that it must be true, because he changed all of this.
Now, my next question is: were you guys able to change that pattern, that behavior about this guy who's corrupted, or just people knew about this but nobody do anything about it? Time is up.
All right.
Yes, and I'm actually going to be. I've got about a minute left, but then I've got to run off to a private session. Yeah, it's a busy day. I do have 2 classes coming up this afternoon in about 2 hours from now. One is Describe What You See, and the other one, it's a fun one. It's a game class, and I'm setting up this class because after 6 classes, I need a break, and I want us to have fun. I can't promise it, but I'm going to try to introduce Hangman as well, but we'll play games that are thought-provoking, that get you to think, such as 20 questions. And that's coming up in 3 hours. So one class coming up 2 hours, and another coming up in 3 hours. The Describe What You See class only has 2 seats available, whereas the game class has 4 seats available. Guys, I'm sorry, I'm still sharing the screen. Thank you so much for, let me sit upright. I'm resting my back. Thank you so much for coming to class today, guys. And who's coming this afternoon?
Me.
Oh, good, Am. Excellent. What about you, David?
As well.
Good. Yeah, it's getting late in the evening, but it's not super late yet. So.
No, it's okay. It's very okay. It's a good time.
I will try to make it because I'm doing a road trip. So if I have a chance, of course, I will go to a Starbucks and do it.
All right. Well,
Thank you.
gentlemen and ladies,
Thank you.
thank you so much for attending. I look forward to seeing you later this afternoon
See you
or
later.
evening.
Bye.